Hello, everyone, and welcome to this virtual cookie decorating class. This is Andrea Falcone, also known as the Cookie Ninja. And today I want to show you some cool tricks and techniques and how to decorate cookies. So maybe the next time you guys are making cookies on your own, whether it's at Christmas time or another holiday, you can actually use some of these techniques to really impress your friends and family with your new skills. So we're going to get right into it. Um, you have your bags of icing, and what you want to do before you get started, before you cut the tip off, you want to make sure you really knead the icing pretty well. It's royal icing is made with meringue powder, powdered sugar, and water, so it does tend to separate after it's been sitting. It doesn't go bad or anything, but you just need to remix it so it's got the right consistency. So for, a minute or two, just make sure you kind of knead your icing bags. And when we do cut the tips of our tipless piping bag, you want to cut the smallest opening possible. It might be hard to see here, but you can kind of tell that it's just a very little tiny snip just right off the end. You will have more control over your icing if you actually keep your openings small, and it won't go all over the place on you. So I'm just going to knead these up, make sure they're ready to go. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to do our cookies in a very specific order because we want to allow for some drying time to incorporate some design elements in our cookie. So the first one we're going to do is this daisy cookie. And we're going to need our white icing. Now, the first technique I'm going to show you guys is how to outline and fill your cookies. So royal icing, we don't want it to drip all over the edges. So we're going to create a little wall to hold our icing in. So what I'm going to do is follow the shape of our cookie. We're going to make separate petals for each one of these sections. Think of it almost like a pizza. We're going to start in the middle and kind of make a pizza slice, but we're going to follow the direction of our petal. And just like that. So we are going to do this is our little wall for each one of these petals. So I'm just going to go ahead and go around and outline our petals and take it slow. The slower you go, the more control you have over your icing, and it'll just turn out better. So we're going to go ahead and finish making our petals. And it really doesn't matter what the middle looks like because a little later we're going to cover that up. And when I'm outlining, you can kind of see my bag isn't right up against the cookie. I give it a little space and kind of let gravity help me out by letting the line of icing fall into place. And the last one. Okay, so we've done our outline. And believe it or not, as you're doing it, the icing is actually starting to dry. It kind of creates like a crust over the outer layer. So that allows you to go ahead and go through and fill it in with icing. And I'm going to get out my toothpick. You guys should have received one of these in your kit. This is going to help us kind of smooth out the icing, fill in any holes as we do this filling part. So I'm going to start here and just fill this in. I'm really not being super exact because the icing does kind of fall into place itself, and we're going to take our little scribe or toothpick and just kind of fill it in here, just right up to the edge. And you can see it's being contained by that wall that I made there. And we're just gonna go through and fill in each petal. And you don't need a ton of icing. You might think that you don't have enough icing to finish the project, but everything was measured out according to how much icing you actually need, and you'd be surprised at how little we'll fill in here. There we go. And this is a technique today we're doing kind of like spring or Mother's Day themed cookies, but the techniques that you see, you do for anything. So, you know, if you're doing Christmas cookies and you want to make a Christmas tree, you could outline your tree with some green icing and then fill it in to fill the whole design of the tree. And you'd have a pretty neat looking cookie. And I'm not going to worry. See how this part here, it's kind of overlapping a little bit. I'm not going to worry about that because when we do it, the middle of our flower, I'm going to cover that up. Okay. Okay, and I'm on my last petal here. Fill that in. All right, now we are going to let this cookie dry a bit. We're not going to do anything else to it because the next step, we don't want it to blend right in with the cookie. We want to create some dimension. So we're going to let this dry. So I'm just going to move it off to the side and that'll stay there where I'm not going to bump into it or anything. Now the next cookie we're going to do while that's drying is our heart. And for the heart, I'm going to show you a technique. It's called wet on wet. And it's called that because all of the icings are the same level of dryness or not dry. We're not going to let these dry before we do our design. And we're going to fill it in with white and put multicolored stripes across. And then we're going to use our toothpick to lightly drag up and down to create a zigzag effect. And this technique is really cool because it's like a high value technique that people think, oh, wow, that must have taken a long time to do. And it's like the easiest thing in the world. So it looks impressive on the cookie, but it's super easy. So we're going to do, again, our outline. And you can see how high I come to let the icing kind of do its thing and follow the natural shape of our heart. Come around, do the other side. And then I'm just going to fill this in with white. And again, any little like spaces or holes that you have, you're going to fill in with your toothpick anyway. So you don't have to be too perfect at this part. Just fill that all in. There's no set way to fill a cookie, just do it however you feel like that time. Okay, now I'm just gonna fill in some of these holes that we have. Make sure it goes to the edge of our little wall here. All right, now you wanna clean off your toothpick. After that, I always keep a paper towel handy just to clean it off. And now we're going to take our colors. So you can do it in any order that you like. We're just going to make simple stripes that go across. And don't worry if your stripes are uneven or whatever, they'll still look great once we do our cool little trick on them. So I'm just going to go across like this. And I'm just going to alternate my colors. So we're going to do pink and yellow and blue. Just quick little stripes. Sorry, my icing was a little dried around the edge there. There we go. Okay. You can see my lines aren't super even, but that doesn't matter because our design will kind of hide any flaws that are in there. All right. So, got my stripes. Now I'm going to take my toothpick and just kind of gently go through the icing and drag it down. And then we're going to drag it up and down and up and down and up. Now, if it looks like it's separating the icing there, that's okay. It will actually, you can even give it a little shake. It'll flow right back in, no problem. That's the great thing about royal icing. It does kind of like fill in any holes or anything. But you can see there we have a cool little zigzag design. And it looks pretty fancy for something that really doesn't take a whole lot of effort or skill even. So that's a cool little trick. Now we're going to put that aside and we're still going to let our daisy dry a bit. We're going to work on our round cookie. So for this one, I'm going to use white to fill it in. You guys can use whatever color you want, depending on how much icing you have left. So to do this cookie, we are going to, again, outline and fill it. And I know you guys are thinking, oh my gosh, there's all these little scalloped edges. That's going to take forever to go do an outline for each one. No, this is a cool trick that I'm going to show you for cookies that have this kind of edge, whether it's a square shaped cookie or circle or whatever. There's a really easy way to handle this because royal icing will kind of blend together. So let me show you this cool trick. I am going to outline a circle just inside the scalloped edge. So again, we'll do our outline, but I'm gonna just do it short of our scallop. And I'll show you what we're gonna do with that in a sec. Okay, so I have my circle. Now, to handle the outside edge, I'm just gonna pipe some dots. Just squeeze my icing to make little dots. And you can see they form pretty much perfect circles. And you can already see they're kind of blending right into our outline. And once we have it all filled in, it'll look like one continuous fill layer. So this is another one that looks like you spent a lot of work on this cookie, but it's pretty easy to go around and just pipe your little dots. And it's okay if they're not even. It'll all kind of spread out just fine. Okay, so once you have your edge done, then you just go ahead and fill it in as usual. And for this cookie, we're actually going to use our multicolored sprinkles. I always say when all else fails, just throw sprinkles on a cookie. It always looks good. If you can't think of a cool design, just put some sprinkles on it. All right, so spread this out. And you can see, for a very minimal effort, we have a pretty cool looking cookie. We didn't even have to go crazy with our outlines. So I'm going to take the sprinkle cup that has multicolored sprinkles. You can see in there I gave everybody 2 of these bigger flower sprinkles. I'll take those out, put those to the side, because I like to place those on the cookies so I can get them in the spot that I want them. And you just put the sprinkles on however you like. I like to do kind of like a sparse layer of sprinkles, and then I'll add my little accent flowers right on there. And it's super easy. And it looks, you know, nice, colorful. There's our sprinkle cookie. So put this over here. And finally, we're going to get back to our daisy. Now, this has been drying a bit. it's not completely dry. The cookies themselves, they will take a couple hours to be completely dry. But as soon as the icing hits the air, it kind of forms like a thin crust over the top. And it's just enough to kind of like let it hold its shape if you were to put another layer on it. So I'm going to use yellow for this one. You can choose any color you want for the middle of your daisy. But all you have to do is pipe a circle. You don't even have to really do much. You just kind of like squeeze the icing on, kind of let it do its thing to make a circle. And you can make it as large or as small as you like. So that forms like the middle of our flower. And the very last thing that we have are those cute little ladybugs. You can see, these are special little sprinkles. I actually made these, and they were made using royal icing, just like this. So what I do is, I took red and black. I can show you an example here. You get a sheet of wax paper, and you can pipe. What I did, I piped little dots on the wax paper, just like that. And then I took the black to make the ladybug's head, just kind of went like that. And then after they dried a bit, I did my details on the back of the ladybug. And I just let it sit for like, I don't know, overnight pretty much. And then when they're completely dry, all you have to do is just pop them right off the wax paper. And they're these cool little sprinkle candy type things. They're like those dot candies that you see on a like long sheet of paper. It's like pink and blue little dots. That's exactly what it's like. So in order to put our ladybugs on our flower, you just want to use the royal icing as some glue. Just put a little dab on there, and then you can just gently let it plop right on your flower petal. Don't push too hard because you will crack through the nice icing that you just put on there. So just a little tiny tap to get it in there. And let's do the other one. Okay. And you can put it on whatever petal you like. There. And there you have it. And those are our 3 cookies. You could eat them right away, but I think they're better once the icing has a chance to kind of harden up. So they'll probably be completely dry in a couple hours, I would say. But that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry for the abridged version here, but we had a little problems with our Zoom recording. It wasn't recording audio and the file was too big. So I figured it was just easier for me to just do round 2 and give you guys your own private little tutorial on how to ice these 3 cookies. And I hope you guys had fun, and I hope this inspired you to go ahead and try maybe some different designs on some cookies. If anybody has any questions for me, just shoot me an email. I love talking about cookies, so I'll answer any questions you have. If you need recommendations for some recipes, I'd be more than happy to share that with you. And also take a picture of your cookies and shoot me an email, because I'm going to post all of these awesome creations that you guys made on my Instagram. So that'll be really fun to look at. So again, thank you for supporting the HSA and taking part in this. And hopefully very soon we can have one that's actually in person. All right, guys. So enjoy those cookies. Have a great day.